Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. It's ink comparison day. When I was thinking about the inks for this month, I actually thought back to last month to March's pens in use, and I used two brown inks there, both by Robert Oster, and I thought, yeah, let's compare them against each other. So today we're going to take a look at Robert Oster Aussie Brown, and we're going to compare that against Robert Oster Caffe Crema. Caffe Crema up till now has been one of my favourite brown inks. Will Aussie Brown replace it? So join me down on the table. We'll take a look at the swatches. We'll look at a chromatography. We'll do a little bit of writing. Then I'll give you my thoughts with these pens. Welcome down to the table. Here we've got our two ink bottles, not a lot really to say, both Robert Oster bottles, plastic bottles, and they're round, they're nice and tall, and if I show you the side here, each of them is a 50 milliliter bottle, and they're made in Australia. So we've got Aussie Brown, and we've got Caffe Crema, two different brown colours. I really enjoy them both though. Just move that out of the way, that was to stop the bottles from rolling. So as I say, not much to say about those. Let's move them out of the way. Let's fetch in the swatch cards. This is where we can start to see something. So on my swatch cards, Aussie Brown at the top, Caffe Crema at the bottom. Very different colours, aren't they? The brown, the Aussie Brown, does remind me a lot of the brown that I see when I'm out and about. You know, it's got this nice, slightly red colour to it. Very, very nice, very pretty. You know, I say, and I can see it when I walk around. Caffe Crema, again, yeah, does remind me what it says. Paler colour, more golden colour. It's one of my favourite inks, I will be honest with you. Between that and Diamond Tobacco Sunburst, which is very similar tones. They're really the two browns that I tend to reach for. But I am finding this Aussie Brown, now that I've had it in a few pens, I'm actually reaching for that more often. We'll turn over and we'll look at the chromatographies. So on the left we've got Aussie Brown, on the right we've got Caffe Crema. Similar but different, aren't they? So with the Aussie Brown, so we start going up, we've got lots of, I want to call like peachy tones. Then we start getting darker, some orangey colours. Then at the top we've got this nice wide pale blue fringe. If we look at the Caffe Crema, again we've got these peachy colours and going into browns. But at the top, where we had blue on the other one, this one, we've got more of a brown fringe. So they're very similar, but also very different, aren't they? Let's move that out of the way. They're just both really interesting things to look at. What matters is how it writes. So let's fetch in the notepad of testing. Here's the notepad of testing. This is Oxford Optic paper in an A5 notebook. This is made by Black and Red. The tool we're going to be using for our writing, as always, this is my Serendipity dip pen with a broad Yoho nib. So what I do is dip the nib in the ink, give it a good drink. I scribble off any excess on some scrap paper, then I'll come and do the writing sample. And we'll start with Aussie Brown. So we've got here a Serendipity dip pen with Robert Oster Aussie Brown. Not sure if you can see, we've got loads of shading coming through already. We're going to do a sentence. And we've virtually run out of ink there. Just going to do another quick little dip, only a teeny tiny small dip this time. Just so we can finish the sentence and then do the scribble. Here we go. That's nice, as you can see, especially as we were starting to run out and get to more like what we see in a pen. Got loads of shading, a real nice deep dark brown colour with this little bit of lightness to it, which I think is a very nice combo. Just going to step away from the desk and give my pen a clean. Then we'll come back with the Caffe Crema. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. So the pen's had a good clean, there we go. What I do is I pull out the nib and feed, clean it all underneath cold running water, dry it all off, and then assemble it back. So, time to write with the Caffe Crema. So let's give the pen a good old drink. So we've got here a Serendipity dip pen. So you can already see very different tone. And it's Robert Oster Caffe Crema. Caffe Crema. I can never remember, just let me double check with the naming. Yeah, it's 2 F's in cafe, not 1. I'm forever getting that wrong. I'm going to write the sentence. And then a scribble test. And this one looks like there was enough ink on there to last all the test. Again, I like this ink, one of my favourite browns. It's more golden colours, and then as you can see, when we start getting the shading coming through, especially when we get down to the sentence, just look at the beautiful tonality we get there. We've got the paler, like golden colours, and we've got hints of the brown coming in. I think it looks really nice. I'm going to pop this over to one side. Whilst that's drying, I'm going to fetch in my Tomoe River paper. So this is my Galen leather notebook. It's 52 GSM Tomoe River paper, plain paper. It's the old style paper. The writing that I've done that we're going to check, both being done with the Laban 325 with a broad nib. Why I do this is to try and keep things as consistent as possible. So we've got the same paper, same pen, same nib. Only difference is the ink and obviously the time. With the Aussie brown, again we're going in alphabetic order. You can see here loads of the shading coming through. A nice brown ink. I will be honest with you, my wife describes this as poo brown. That always tickles me. So anything I'm doing that my wife might read, I don't do using this because she does not like it. So it's a bit darker, but love the tones, love the shading. Really growing on me is this ink. It's not one that I used to reach for, but now I've been using it a bit more often lately. I think I need to get this out more often, and especially in my 1.1 pens by Casey. Wow, that stub nib there with this ink looks really nice. Let's compare that with the Caffe Crema. So here we are, Robert Oster Caffe Crema. Beautiful tones, more shading. Certainly see a lot more shading on here, and the shading I see to my eye does look a lot nicer. I really do like this ink. It's not as in your face as the other one. It's certainly not a yellow ink, but there's a lot more yellow tones. You know, I like to call them golden tones in this ink. If I can hopefully get this so we can see a bit of both. There we are, there's a side-by-side view. Both brown inks, but just look at the differences. You know, the Aussie brown, I say nice dark brown. I would say in a more professional setting, this would actually look not too bad. Maybe you could get away with it instead of a black ink. Maybe not. Might be worth trying though. Certainly with the Caffe Crema, there's more character coming out in that one. So I'll move this away. We'll fetch in that optic paper. So that's had time to properly dry. There we go. So you can have one last look there. And we'll fetch in the 2 bottles. Not that there's a lot to look at with the 2 bottles because they're virtually the same. It's fetching that little pen rest just to stop them from rolling off. Really enjoy both inks. They're both very nice. You know, they're nice brown colours. Let's sit them like that. I like the darkness of the Aussie brown. I like the way it reminds me of Australia. That's my home now. And, you know, it does remind me, you know, we're out for a walk and the browns that we see. Whereas the Caffe Crema, paler colours, more shading, more interest, more character, I think, to the ink. Again, very nice. It's a very similar thing. Reminds me of that cafe culture. There's a lot of cafe culture around here. You know, so you sat there in a cafe, writing away. You've got your coffee there. You've got that gorgeous crema on top. And it does call back to that. So they're my thoughts on Robert Oster Aussie Brown and Robert Oster Caffe Crema. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Do you have both of these inks, or do you have either of them? Are they of any interest to you? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.